Imagine a world where the night sky is lit not by stars, but by the fiery aftermath of nuclear detonations. This is not a scene from a science fiction movie, but a possible reality if America and Russia were to engage in a nuclear conflict. The immediate impact of a nuclear war would be catastrophic. Cities would be reduced to rubble within seconds. Millions of lives would be lost in the blink of an eye. Beyond the initial destruction, the long-term effects would be equally harrowing. Radiation would permeate the air, water, and soil, rendering vast areas uninhabitable. Ecosystems would collapse, and the planet's climate would be altered, potentially triggering a nuclear winter. Yet, amid this bleak scenario, there lies a glimmer of hope. The first few hours following a nuclear exchange would be marked by utter chaos. Emergency services would be overwhelmed, and infrastructure would be decimated. Communication networks would fail, leaving survivors isolated and desperate for information. The sky would be filled with a thick, choking smoke, blotting out the sun and casting the world into darkness. Survivors would scramble for shelter, seeking refuge from the radioactive fallout. Makeshift bunkers and basements would become havens, albeit temporary ones. The air outside would be toxic, filled with radioactive particles that could cause severe illness or death. Panic would spread like wildfire. Resources such as food, water, and medical supplies would become precious commodities. Despite the chaos, some would rise to the occasion. The human toll of a nuclear conflict would be staggering. Millions would perish in the initial blasts, their lives snuffed out in an instant. Those who survived would face a grim reality, marked by widespread suffering and loss. The injured would number in the hundreds of thousands, overwhelming any remaining medical facilities. Radiation sickness would become a common affliction. Symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and severe burns would plague survivors. Long-term exposure would lead to cancers and other debilitating conditions. The psychological impact would be profound, as individuals grappled with the trauma of what they had witnessed and endured. Families would be torn apart, children would become orphans, and spouses would be widowed. Displacement would be rampant, with countless people forced to flee their homes in search of safety. Despite these challenges, the resilience of the human spirit would be evident. The ecological impact of a nuclear war would be profound and far-reaching. The immediate explosions would obliterate entire ecosystems, turning vibrant landscapes into desolate wastelands. Forests would be incinerated, rivers poisoned, and wildlife decimated.
Radiation would seep into the soil and water, contaminating everything it touched. Plant life would wither and die, unable to withstand the toxic environment. Animals that survived the initial blasts would suffer from radiation poisoning, leading to a massive die-off. The delicate balance of ecosystems would be disrupted, causing cascading effects that would reverberate for years to come. The atmosphere would be filled with soot and debris, blocking out sunlight and causing temperatures to plummet. This nuclear winter would result in failed crops and food shortages, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Despite the widespread destruction, nature has a remarkable capacity for recovery. Over time, ecosystems would begin to heal, and new life would emerge from the ashes.
In the wake of a nuclear conflict, the technological landscape would be dramatically altered. The infrastructure that supports modern society would be severely damaged or destroyed. Power grids would fail, plunging cities into darkness.
Communication networks would be disrupted, leaving people isolated and cut off from the world. The electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, generated by nuclear explosions would wreak havoc on electronic devices.
Computers, phones, and other gadgets would be rendered useless. This technological blackout would exacerbate the chaos, making it difficult to coordinate relief efforts and maintain order.
Alternative energy sources such as solar and wind power would become crucial in the quest to rebuild. The crisis would also prompt a re-evaluation of our reliance on technology, leading to a more sustainable and resilient approach to development.
In the end, the technological fallout would serve as both a cautionary tale and an opportunity for growth. The societal impact of a nuclear war would be as devastating as the physical destruction. The intricate web of social structures that hold communities together would unravel, giving way to chaos and anarchy.
Law and order would break down, and the rule of the strongest would prevail. In this new world, survival would become the primary concern. Government institutions would struggle to maintain control,
The loss of communication and infrastructure would hinder their ability to respond effectively. Martial law might be declared, but enforcing it would be a monumental task.
Vigilante groups and warlords could emerge, vying for power and resources. The economy would be in shambles.
Essential goods such as food, water, and medicine would be in short supply, leading to fierce competition and conflict. Despite the overwhelming challenges, pockets of stability and cooperation would emerge. The psychological impact of a nuclear conflict would be profound and long-lasting. Survivors would grapple with immense trauma, having witnessed unimaginable horrors and endured extreme suffering.
The mental scars would be deep, affecting individuals and communities for generations to come. The collective psyche of humanity would be forever altered. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, would become widespread.
Symptoms such as flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety would plague survivors. The loss of loved ones and the destruction of homes would compound the trauma, leading to feelings of hopelessness and despair.
Despite the pervasive trauma, the human spirit's capacity for resilience would shine through. Communities would come together to support each other, finding strength in solidarity.
Over time, survivors would begin to heal, drawing on their inner strength and the support of those around them. Amidst the devastation and despair, seeds of hope would begin to sprout. Humanity's capacity for resilience and renewal would become evident as survivors worked to rebuild their lives and communities.
Acts of kindness and solidarity would proliferate. Neighbors would help each other rebuild homes, share resources, and provide emotional support. Community gardens would spring up, offering both sustenance and a symbol of renewal.
In the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit's capacity for hope and cooperation would shine through. Innovation and adaptation would be key to the rebuilding process.
The crisis would prompt a re-evaluation of our relationship with technology and the environment, leading to more sustainable and resilient practices.
The rebuilding process would also foster a sense of global solidarity. The shared experience of suffering and survival would bind people together across borders and cultures. Rebuilding society after a nuclear conflict would be an immense challenge, but it would also be an opportunity for renewal. The process would require a collective effort, driven by the resilience and ingenuity of the human spirit.
From the ashes of destruction, a new society would emerge, shaped by the lessons of the past. Infrastructure would need to be rebuilt from the ground up.
Sustainable practices would become essential, as communities sought to create resilient systems that could withstand future crises. Renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind power, would play a crucial role in this new society.
Education would be a cornerstone of the rebuilding process. Schools and universities would be rebuilt, and new curricula would be developed to address the realities of the post-war world.
The next generation would be equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to build a sustainable future. Governance would also undergo a transformation rooted in principles of cooperation, equity, and sustainability. Nature has a remarkable capacity for recovery, even in the face of tremendous destruction. In the aftermath of a nuclear conflict, the natural world would begin to heal, slowly but surely.
This process of ecological recovery would be a testament to the resilience of life on Earth and a reminder of the importance of living in harmony with nature. The initial devastation would give way to new growth. Plants and trees would begin to sprout in the most unlikely places, reclaiming areas that had been reduced to rubble.
Wildlife would return, finding new niches in the altered landscape. Over time, ecosystems would begin to reestablish themselves, creating a new balance.
Efforts to aid ecological recovery would play a crucial role. Reforestation projects, habitat restoration, and pollution cleanup would help accelerate the healing process.
The recovery of the natural world would offer hope and inspiration, serving as a reminder of the resilience of life and the possibility of renewal. The hypothetical scenario of a nuclear conflict between America and Russia paints a bleak picture of destruction and despair. Yet, within this dark narrative, there lies a glimmer of hope.
Humanity's capacity for resilience, innovation, and solidarity offers a path forward, even in the face of overwhelming odds. From the ashes of destruction, a new era could emerge.
The immediate and long-term impacts of such a conflict would be profound, affecting every aspect of life on Earth.
Yet, through acts of kindness, cooperation, and ingenuity, humanity could begin to rebuild.
The lessons learned from such a cataclysm would shape a new approach to development, one rooted in sustainability and harmony with nature.
In this new era, the health of the planet would be seen as inseparable from the well-being of humanity.
By imagining the worst, we can work to prevent it and strive for a future where humanity and nature thrive together.